It's official, we are Winged Rhynos Gaming. This card is too good. This card is simply too good. For the first time on the channel, we are doing an IRL vlog style experience. I took Winged Rhynos to my locals this week. I filmed all of the duels, edited them. It was at the Zombie Cafe and Games. If you are in London, please come. Every Thursday, 7 p.m., a good group of people get together to play some Edison. I'm always there throwing down some janky, weird decks, but I'm happy to say that this is no longer a janky, weird deck. This guy is good. This guy's officially good. Let's go. And because I am revisiting the Rhynos deck, I decided to make a few changes. Ever since the episode, I've been talking with WDNR. You know, we've been exchanging ideas, and they have some interesting ideas. They are down to 3 gadgets. Three gadgets, and the idea of that terrifies me. But, you know, you gotta try stuff that scares you, and so this is the deck list I brought to the tournament. As you can tell, 4 gadgets and 2 cool tech cards. We've got a Gale and a Caius. The idea is these are great utility monsters that give you a little bit more options in the grind game. So we have a lot of duels to watch. This was an extremely exciting locals. I hope you all enjoy. Let's get into the duels. Round number 1. We are up against Dorian, and he's on his rock deck. He's going to start off by normal summoning a Lila, set a back row, but we might be playing Blasting Fuse. He's got to move that column. He'll mill 3 cards in the end phase and pass the turn to us. We draw for turn. We set to back row and pass right back to Dorian. He draws. He's going to activate Lila's effect, targeting that back row, but we're going to chain both. We go Good Goblin and Reckless Greed. This will let us draw 3 cards and put 1 card on the bottom of our deck. He's going to activate Call of the Haunted, bring back the Fossil Dyna, and he decides to 2 tribute for this giant rock guy. A fair play. He wants to get aggressive, but I do have the punish in Gores. Not very good for him, but he's just going to set a back row and pass his turn. We do not draw because of that Reckless Greed, but we can get a gadget, so we can have a little +1 anyway. We get the red gadget to our hand, and then we are going to activate Offerings to the Doomed on his monster. That will go to the graveyard, and then we can get in for 14, 27, and 28. Things are looking very good for us in this game. We then set a couple of back row and pass the turn back to him, and he is going to end phase snipe our Reckless Greed. We got pretty lucky on that 50-50, but you know, it happens sometimes. It happens. He's going to special summon a Gigantes and then use Dark Calling to get out a massive Dark Gaia. He attacks into our gadget and then declares an attack on the token, but we have the D Prison. He then sets another monster and passes his turn. We do not draw again because of that Reckless Greed. We're going to normal summon a red gadget. This gets a yellow gadget from our deck to our hand. We attack over the Gigantes. This will blow up his Call of the Haunted. We then attack into a set monster. It is Morphing Jar, but unless he draws a Battle Fader, it is game. Clean game number 1. Let's go on to game number 2. This time we are going second again. Dorian's going to set a couple of cards and pass his turn. We draw for turn. We are going to normal summon a red gadget. This gets a yellow gadget to our hand. Attack into the monster, and it was a Sangan. The Sangan will get a card trooper to his hand, and he's going to end phase snipe a Good Goblin Housekeeping. I guess that's definitely not the worst thing he could have hit. He's then going to normal summon the card trooper, attack into our gadget. We take a little bit of damage, summon the yellow gadget on our turn at a green, attack over the card trooper, and they will take a little bit of damage. We're then going to activate Jar of Greed and pass our turn. Dorian is going to activate Call of the Haunted, mill 3 cards with the card trooper again, and then they're going to attack over the gadget again. And now we are running low on gadgets. We have a normal summon of green gadget, no effect. We can attack over the card trooper, and Dorian summons a Trag. We set a couple of cards and pass yet again, and they have Giant Trunade. Not very good for us. We're going to activate Offerings and a Legacy so we can at least draw a card. This other back row gets returned to our hand, and then they activate Dark Calling. They get out a big Dark Gaia, normal summon a Lila, attack our gadget, and then attack us directly, and we take quite a bit of damage. We can't draw for turn. We're going to activate Heavy Storm. Oh, wait. This was actually a cheat. This was not correct. So, Dorian accidentally did not put that Call of the Haunted in the graveyard after I attacked over the Card Trooper with the gadget. It should have been destroyed. It was not. He returned it to his hand with the giant Trunade. So, small cheat, but, you know, I don't think it really mattered in the grand scheme of this game. They are going to search with this Sangan for a Raikou, and we are going to normal summon a Gale, attack over the Lila, but we are extremely low. We set a lot of back row and pass our turn, and oh my god, this Heavy Storm is devastating. We can at least compulse the Dark Gaia, but we lost a Torrential and a Bottomless. Devastating stuff. We're going to attack with the Gale into the Raikou. They mill 3 cards. We set a back row and pass our turn, and they're going to special summon this Gaia Plate, and we do not have anything, so we are dead in game number 2. Game number 3, what will happen? We get to go first for the first time. We normal summon a green gadget, get a red gadget, set 4 back row, and pass our turn. Dorian is going to set 2 cards and pass back to me. We're going to normal summon a yellow gadget. This will go Chain Link 1 yellow gadget, Chain Link 2 good goblin, Chain Link 3 legacy, Chain Link 4 accumulated fortune, and Chain Link 5 accumulated fortune. You can do this. Technically activate 2 in a row, even though they say that thing, but this works. So we draw a ton of cards, 8 cards in hand.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 cards. This is looking big.
8 cards in hand. We attack into his Raikou. He pops the yellow gadget, mills 3 cards, no rocks, and we set a couple of cards and pass right back. Dorian draws return. He's going to set another monster and pass to me. I draw. I'm going to normal summon a Winged Rhynos, and we decided to chain the Torrential. We want to keep them off of as many rocks as possible, but thankfully the Winged Rhynos can go back to our hand, where they can activate Good Goblin, Housekeeping, and then we draw 2 cards and put 1 on the bottom of the deck. We're then going to activate a Legacy to draw 1 more, and then we're going to set a card and 2 cards and pass our turn. In the end phase, they're going to Dust Tornado with the 1 card they can, which was a Deprison, which was not set that turn. They then activate a Charge of the Light Brigade, and they do mill a Caius. I did not see this at the time. They normal summon Lila. They target one of the back row, but it's a compulse, so we can chain it, and then we draw for turn. Normal summon a Winged Rhynos and attack for 1,800. They are down to 6,200 life points. We set a couple of back row and pass our turn, and we do have the trap Dust Shoot. We're going to take the Gaia Plate. I don't know if this is the correct decision, but I didn't realize that he milled the Caius, so I didn't know this Dark Calling was live. They normal summon the Lila, target a back row, but it was just an offering. So they attack with the Cyber Dragon and another offerings, set a back row, and pass their turn. We normal summon a green gadget, get a red gadget to our hand. They are getting quite low after we attack. We set 2 back row and pass the turn. They are going to activate Dark Calling. This will summon a quite big Dark Gaia, but thankfully we have something to stop this, and then they are going to attack, but we have the offerings to the Doomed. And thankfully, we will not draw during our next turn. They set 1 more back row, and then we are going to attack our opponent, and they will take this damage. Just kidding, they have returned from the different dimension. We will not redeclare, so those will get banished in the end phase. And a gold sarcophagus off the top is not going to do it. Round number 1 goes to us. Round number 2, we are up against Seb, who is on zombies with a little bit of Assault Mode Spice, and we are going second. We lost the dice roll. They're going to set a monster and 2 back row and pass their turn, and they do have Trap Dust Shoot. This is quite devastating. Not only do we only have 1 starter, but now they have full hand knowledge. We set 1 back row, and they're going to activate a Regeki Break in the end phase to snipe that back row, discarding a Malicious. They draw for turn. They're going to flip up a Goblin Zombie, activate Foolish Burial on a Plague Spreader, use that Plague Spreader in order to synchro with a Goblin Zombie into a Goyo Guardian. They are then going to search their deck for a Spirit Reaper, normal summon the Spirit Reaper, and attack us. Thankfully, we are still in the game because they do end up hitting the Caius, so it's not over yet. We draw another card, set our entire hand, and pass. We top decked an MST, which you would think is bad, but I'll show you it's actually not that bad. They're going to basically go for game, and on attack declaration, we can activate Good Goblin, chain link 2 MST targeting the Good Goblin. It will be in the graveyard at resolution, and so it will draw an extra card, then Legacy, and then Accumulated Fortune, so we can draw a bunch of cards, 5 cards in total. If we get Gores or Trag, we are still in this game, but we do not, and so we unfortunately lose game number 1 to zombies. Game number 2, let's see if we can do anything, but, you know, we get to go first. Maybe we'll get a broken hand. Unfortunately not, just a Rhino with a Reckless Greed. We will see what happens. They're going to normal summon a Zombie Master attack into our Rhino, and we have another Rhino in our hand, so we just let this go through. There's an argument to not let this go through, to play around Book of Life, but, you know, I didn't have a clean way to out the Zombie Master, so I just let it happen. We normal summon the Rhino attack. They are down to 6,200 life points. We set 3 and pass, and again with these end phase snipes, Raigeki break on the one back row in the middle, and this is devastating. The accumulated fortune. We had the setup to draw with it, and in the standby phase, we do decide to activate this Crow on the Malicious. I don't have a clean out for the Stardust, and so they activate Book of Life. I also Crow the Zombie Master. I don't know why. I just did it. I don't know. We're going to MST their background. It was just an Assault mode activate. Not great. We're going to attack into their monster, and it is a Mystic Tomato. That's bad. They summon out a Plague Spreader in attack position. We cut their deck. They draw a card. They normal summon a Mizuki, and we do have a Bottomless Trap Hole. That is fine. And then they're going to switch this Plague to defense, and we draw for turn. We're going to attack into the Plague. It will go to the graveyard, and then we're just going to pass our turn. They draw for turn. They are going to set another monster and pass back to us. We activate a Reckless Greed. We draw 2 cards, and then we are going to attack into the monster. It was a Pyramid Turtle, which is very bad. They will get out a Goblin Zombie. We then set 2 back row and pass to our opponent. They are going to normal summon an Assault Synchro guy, go into a Goyo Guardian, and then they are going to attack into our Winged Rhynos, but we do have the D-Prison. We are trading pretty favorably with these big monsters, and before they end their turn, we can activate another Reckless Greed to stack those draw phases. We attack again with Winged Rhynos, getting them down to 4,400, set a back row, and pass our turn. They set another monster and pass, and another back row. We will activate this Good Goblin Housekeeping in order to draw a card, and we put this card on the bottom of the deck. I think it was a Trap Dust Shoot, and then we don't draw for turn from the Reckless. We are going to activate Heavy Storm on their Raigeki break, and we were in a bad spot. We drew, I think, another Rhinos. I don't remember, but we don't have any traps to set with this Rhino, so we're not feeling great. And then we just pass our turn. They're going to switch this Goblin Zombie to defense and pass right back to us. That is really good. I think they forgot about the Plague in the graveyard, but that really would have screwed us. So we're going to normal summon a red, get a yellow to our hand, attack over the Goblin. They get another Pyramid Turtle. We have a ton of removal in the deck and the offerings, but these recruiters and this advantage for the zombie deck gets, it's just really difficult. They're going to activate Mind Control, normal summon this Tuner in order to make a Bryonic, and then they are just going to attack into our red Gadget. We take some damage. That's fine. We're down to 7,000. We draw that removal I was talking about, and I have a tough decision. I could activate this Offerings now and get in some damage, but I want him to try to, you know, discard some cards, get some value out of it. But he's smarter than that. He just goes straight into the battle phase and forces me to do the same play anyway. But this time I don't get in that 1,200 damage. He's then going to set a monster and pass his turn. I know it is the Pyramid Turtle, and at this point I do think that he forgot about the Plague Spreader in his graveyard, but I'm going to find out that that's not correct. I special summon the Trag, discard the other gadget in my hand to steal the Pyramid Turtle. I think I'm going to win the game, but he remembers the Plague Spreader, brings it back, tributes it for Caius, and we are in a bad spot. He can attack over his own Pyramid Turtle in order to get a Spirit Reaper out of his deck. We still have 2 monsters, but we are basically on no cards, and I am terrified. I do not know what I'm going to do. This is a very bad spot to be in. I draw for turn. I'm just going to switch my gadget to defense, set a back row, and pass. They're going to attack into the gadget, and then they're just going to set a back row and pass their turn. We draw for turn. We're going to activate a Jar of Greed to draw a card, which I don't know if you saw what card it was, but it was a pretty good one. We're going to set another card in the end phase. It eats a Dust Tornado, and then we're just going to pass. They switch the Spirit Reaper to attack over the Tragodia, and then they attack directly with the Spirit Reaper, and our last card is the Gores. Sometimes you're just simply that good. And this literally is basically game if they don't tribute set the Malicious in their hand. So we went from an awful spot to a very good spot. We're going to attack over the Caius, set a back row, and pass our turn. They draw for turn, and then they're just going to pass, and a Winged Rhynos off of the top is going to seal up game number 2. What a game. That was an insane game. How did we win that? Let's go on to game number 3. We are still in this tournament, but we are going second yet again. A set monster and 3 back row is not too bad, but this Nobleman of Crossout is something I sided in based on the way he was playing in the previous game. I wouldn't normally do it against zombies, and it eats a Solemn Judgment. That's pretty bad for us. I would have preferred that monster to be banished. And another end phase MST, I swear, just so many end phase snipes. They flip summon the Mystic Tomato, and then they're going to attack for 1400, and we will activate this good Goblin Housekeeping. We can draw a card, we get down to 6,600 life points, and then we can summon the Gores from our hand. They're going to set another back row and pass our turn. We draw for turn, and we are going to switch these guys to attack. And I do this thing where after attack declaration, you can chain the Offerings to the Doom. This plays around Mirror Force and Deep Prison because they have to activate those on declaration. So this is a very good scenario, but they are going to activate this Raigeki Break, so we do not get in that damage, but we do get in for 1400, putting them down to 2600. We set 2 back row and then pass our turn. They pass their turn, and we're going to activate this good Goblin. Oh no, in their standby phase, we activate the good Goblin Housekeeping. This is because we have a second one set. We want this one to be in the graveyard in case they chain Heavy Storm or something like that. And then we're going to activate this good Goblin Housekeeping, but unfortunately they have the Trap Stun. We literally would have drawn 3 cards and put back 1. It would have been incredible. And here is my one cheat of the tournament. I am so sorry. Basically, if you remember back to the previous turn when I activated that Offerings to the Doom on the Mystic Tomato, well, I ended up not placing that card on top of the deck, and then I completely forgot that I needed to skip my next draw phase. So much had happened from that point, but it was a very bad move. I should not have done this, and obviously cheating is not good. I should not have cheated. It wasn't caught in the moment, and I promise it wasn't a malicious act. It just kind of happened, and I caught it in the editing room. You know, I caught it. So commenters, I'm aware, and I'm sorry. And I should not have done it, and I will not do it again. I normally put the card on top of the deck. You've seen in the rest of the duels. I don't know what I was thinking at this moment. There was a lot going on. We are just going to attack again with our token. They will take some more damage, putting them down to 1200. They are going to normal summon a Pyramid Turtle. They attack into our monster. They will take 200 more damage, putting them down to 1000. Summon out the Mizuki, and they will attack over us, putting us down to 6300. We draw for turn, and then we are going to normal summon a Winged Rhynos. We're going to attack over that Mizuki. They take 100 damage, down to 900. We're then going to set a back row and pass our turn. They're going to banish this Mizuki for the Pyramid Turtle in defense position, and then we are going to draw for turn. We just pass the turn right back. They draw again. They set another back row and pass to us, and then we are going to draw for turn yet again. We are going to set another back row and pass back to them, but they do have the end phase dust. That is the theme of this tournament. And on their trap card, we are going to bounce our Winged Rhynos. Then we are going to draw for turn. We're just going to set another back row and pass back to our opponent. They are going to switch this Pyramid Turtle to attack position and attack us for 1200 damage. We will take that damage, and as a result, we will drop this Tragodia. Tragodia is a good card. They're going to normal summon this Tuner, make a Goyo Guardian, and then we are going to activate this Bottomless Trap Hole that goes through, and then they're going to activate the Mizuki in the graveyard in order to bring back the Pyramid Turtle in the defense position. And there's one thing that is not too shabby about that Pyramid Turtle. It's that card is the level 4, and we returned the Winged Rhynos to our hand. So we can pitch that Winged Rhynos in order to steal their Pyramid Turtle, switch it to attack, and win game number 3. I have no idea how we won that round. That was an insane game. On to round number 3. We're up against Cody, a very nice person. They're going to activate this Instant Fusion up against zombies again. A lot of zombies in this tournament. They're going to summon the Reaper of the Nightmare, and then they're going to normal summon a Krebons, go into a Psychic Life Transfer, I believe, and then they're going to use its effect to banish the Krebons and gain 1200 life points. Incredible play. Absolutely incredible play. That Instant Fusion was free. They then set a back row and pass their turn. We are going to set 3 back row and pass right back to them. They draw for turn. They're going to go into the battle phase, and we just simply drew 3 Reckless Greed. I didn't stack my deck. I just drew 3 Reckless Greed all at the same time. That has never happened to me before. I have no idea how that happened. We correctly stack that Reckless on top of the deck. We will take 2,400 damage and drop this Tragodia. We are then going to not draw for turn, and then we are going to switch this Tragodia to attack position. And we have 8 cards in hand, so it's at 4,800 attack points. They will lose 2,400 damage from attacking into a monster with 2,400 attack. We then set 4 back row and then pass our turn. They're going to draw for turn and pass right back to us. We are not going to draw yet again, and then we're going to normal summon a green gadget, search our deck for another gadget, go into the battle phase and attack, and on attack declaration, we activate a compulse on their monster. Unfortunately, they did have the Solemn. That would have been game if they didn't have the Solemn. And then we are going to activate these 3 Legacy of Yatagarasu. Why are we drawing 3 ofs this game? I have no idea. We attack into the Pyramid Turtle. They summon out another Pyramid Turtle. We're then going to set a couple of back row and then pass our turn. They are going to set a back row and then pass right back to us. We finally can draw again after those Recklesses. We're going to MST their back row in the standby phase. It was Torrential Tribute, which is good for us. And we are using this Tragodia effect so much. We steal their monster, switch them all to attack, and this is game. Game number 2, let's see what can happen. We are going to draw our cards for turn, but we are going second. They're going to activate Allure of Darkness, banishing a Tragodia, and then they're just going to set a monster and pass their turn. We just simply set 5 back row and pass, and then they're just going to pass right back to us. We draw and pass right back to them. They are going to flip over this Pyramid Turtle, go into the battle phase and attack. And we will go Chainlink 1, Deprison, Chainlink 2, Good Goblin Housekeeping, Chainlink 3, Reckless Greed, Chainlink 4, Accumulated Fortune, and Chainlink 5, Accumulated Fortune. That is a lot of cards. That's an absurd amount of cards. And we got rid of the monster. God, that is cool. This deck is so cool. We put all those cards into the graveyard, put that Reckless Greed on top of our deck. My opponent's going to set another monster, set a back row, and pass their turn. We will not draw for turn. Flop around that Reckless Greed. You're going to normal summon a Winged Rhynos, set a couple of back row, and then pass our turn back to our opponent. We don't want to attack into anything quite yet. Could be something to destroy the Rhynos. They activate an instant fusion. That is fine with me. They will take 1,000 damage, putting them down to 7,000. Summon out the Reaper of the Nightmare. They're then going to normal summon a level 3 tuner. And this is a pretty good time to Torrential Tribute. And thankfully, we can do the coolest thing in this deck, which is bounce the Winged Rhynos on the activation of that trap card in order to dodge the removal. And then we are not going to draw for turn because they pass the turn right back, summon the Rhynos, and we attack yet again. 5,200 life points to 8,000. We set another back row and pass our turn to our opponent. They're going to normal summon a Krebons, and then that is fine with me. They normal summon the Krebons, pass their turn. We summon a red gadget. This gets another gadget to our hand. Just kidding, they have the Pulling the Rug. Pretty good side deck option. We are going to attack into the Krebons for 800 damage, 3,400, and then we just pass our turn. They activate Book of Life on our gadget in the graveyard, and they bring back this Reaper of the Nightmare. They go into a Black Rose Dragon, and that is fine because we can activate a draw card and then chain Winged Rhynos. We will lose our Compulse, but we will still pretty much go positive in that exchange. I think that was a fairly good exchange for me. We're going to put a card on the bottom of our deck, and they do have Dark Arm Dragon, so we will take this 28. We do have Gores in hand, but there's no reason to drop it because then they can just pop it in main phase 2. They set a back row and pass their turn. We're going to summon the Winged Rhynos, activate the Offerings of the Dune to destroy the Tragodia, attack for 1,800. They're down to 1,600 life points. We set a couple of back row and pass our turn. They're going to activate Return from the Different Dimension, and this is probably my worst mistake in the entire tournament. This is such an embarrassing play. Just don't pay attention. We're going to activate Reckless Greed, bounce the Winged Rhynos when they try to crash with the Pyramid Turtle. Then we activate this Jar of Greed on the attack declaration and Compulse on the Tragodia. This is only to get Gores on the field. I have no idea why I was doing this. This is such a bad play because in main phase 2 they can just Tribute Summon Caius. They would have made this play and we could have just compulsed the Caius and just won the game, but I was just so greedy to summon Gores that we are in such a bad spot now. So we have to just set a monster. I'm pretty sure I have 3 Winged Rhynos in my hand at this point. I set 1 Winged Rhynos and 2 back row and pass my turn. They MST The Good Goblin Housekeeping, that was such a lucky 50-50 for us because as you will see, the second trap card was a deprison. So we will deprison their monster past their turn. We flip up this Winged Rhynos, switch this token to attack position, go into the battle phase and declare an attack, and they do have the Mirror Force. Thankfully, Winged Rhynos does not care about Mirror Force, and we have not normal summoned this turn, so we can summon back out the Winged Rhynos and pass our turn. Again, we have 2 more Winged Rhinoses in our hand. They're just going to normal summon a Crybons. We summon the second Winged Rhynos. They have 1,600 life points. 2 attacks into the Crybons is game. That's right. I won the locals. I actually won the locals. What the heck? I mean, I've been going to that locals for 4 months and I've never won. This is the first time I've ever won. And I did it with Rhinos. I did it with this guy. And so let's talk about the deck. Let's talk about my thoughts. So going down to 4 gadgets was a little bit scary. I felt it every single game. Every single time I was onto my last gadget, I was like, oh my god, I have a 1300 attack normal summon and nothing else. I think it makes the deck less simple, less one note. Your conga line is going to end at some point. But with that risk, you have more of a shot to control the game in the beginning. You have more of a shot to pull off an accumulated multiple Reckless Greed sort of thing. And that is going to help you win more games than the endless line of gadgets would. Even though you might have first hands that are a little stressful, maybe you have to take a big risk, but sometimes that risk is worth it, and I understand, and I think maybe, yeah, 3 gadgets is the way to go. Maybe 4 was too many, so that's crazy. Besides my 1 cheat and a few misplays, I think the deck performed pretty well, and I think I did okay. I mean, I won, so I'm happy at the end of the day. I also want to say that the deck does really well against bottomless. There's nothing to bottomless, and really well against trap cards. And all the decks I dueled against were playing chainables and dust tornadoes and no heavy trap lineups. So the fact I was able to grind through that, I think, is a real testament to the deck. I was getting sniped in the end phase so much this tournament, and we still managed to pull it out. And that's the thing, I think the matchups, besides Frogs is a horrible matchup, but even these matchups are very winnable. If you play correctly and you make the right calls, these types of games you can win. Even when it's not doing great, you still are in it. You're still grinding, chipping away, and I love it. It's such a fun play style. You are just playing so much, and you have to think so much. You have so many options. As you could tell, these games were unbelievably long. Man, this tournament was so much fun. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you like this type of video, please let me know. It was horrible to edit. It was 3 hours of footage that I had to edit and commentate and do all this stuff, so please let me know if you like this sort of thing, and I will try to do it more in the future. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and Winged Rhynos, best deck? Probably correct. That's probably a true statement. Thank you guys for watching, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one.